Well, this is our 30th anniversary this year.
We're at the Keex, the 30th annual Keex Culture Camp. It's the organized village of Keex. Our staff puts it on totally. We fundraise, we get donations from the different companies we deal with. And it's located out at a traditional site of Walter Williams Sr. and his son Walter Williams Jr. And we thank them for it. We're out in the Keex Tribal Corporation area.
It came about because back then we had a rash of suicides, about 15 suicides in a year and a half or so.
Alaska Daily News in Anchorage did an article, a series of articles, one whole week of it, called People in Peril, 1987. And they wrote about Alaska. And one section was on Keex. And I did not know we had the highest rate of suicides in the state of Alaska. The state of Alaska had the highest rate of suicides in the nation. Where did they put us? Right at the top. So that's when we really started addressing it. So in 1987, 1988, we started this. We said, we're going to do this ourselves. We have to try to save our people.
Community got together and tried to figure out a way to help our people to get in a different mindset, and it seems to have worked.
We had the record for the suicide rate, so the state was putting a lot of money into suicide prevention, and our council proposed that we start doing cultural activities with suicide prevention money, and this was one of the activities. Starting the dance group was one of them. We did arts and crafts, regalia sewing. So 30 years ago, this camp got started.
Because we had such a high rate of suicide, a lot of our realization was that we needed to make sure that our youth had a solid foundation and know where they came from, knew who they are as a people, as part of our community, so that they understood that they had value.
I got 3 boys working with kids. It's, there's nothing more honorable than to showing kids how to live a good life, using our culture to make good choices.
There's a phrase in Tlingit, and I don't know it, but it says you have to take the stones out of your mouth when it's starting to affect your grandchildren and your future generations, and you're losing people. Because I've been a magistrate judge for 30 years and I retired last year, 27 years. And I know through statutes that you have every right to take your own life. Simple as that. But in our culture, it's not right. And that's when I quoted, we have to take our stones out of our mouths, because we need to start talking to the different people about it.
We have 3rd generation campers out here, and since camp started, our suicide rate has gone down. We haven't had a suicide in years now. Yeah.
And what we try to instill is that not everything that you do comes with a type of reward that you can take with you, but the reward of helping someone in need, that's the reward in itself, to help someone who's without, someone who needs, or even taking care of an elder, or families that might need, a little bit of extra food, that don't know how. Then you say, hey, come with me. I'll show you how to fish. I'll take you with me. I'll show you how to hunt.
My grandfather, when he was passing on, he charged us with, sonny boy, we have to become human again. He said, that's Tlingit. That's who we are. He said we have to try to help our people out. to break that chain of abuse, domestic violence, child neglect, and suicides. And that took a big hit on me, thinking about some people were unfortunate they didn't grow up around what we did. And that connected what was going on in our community, where we were able to draw on a bunch of elders that they were the ones that settled the community down, because they came out there and they talked. They brought it out.
We have our
Elders Night.
Elders Night. We encourage as many elders as possible to come out and tell stories, because that's the history of our culture. The oral storytelling. So we want to continue that, and we invite as many as are willing and able to come out here and share with the youth. Because even in as small as our town is, they don't all come together for any specific reason and talk.
I rely on everybody's knowledge so these kids get a different view on how to put up food for the winter. You know, that's basically what we do here. This is like a fish camp.
And these kids nowadays, they know so much more of our language than I do. So it's getting better and better, and we just want to continue that as much as we can in any way that we can. And camp is one of the good ways, because they learn so much more of the processes of our culture versus just picture cards.
It's not hard once you lead from the front. A lot of my skills come from being in the military. I was a Marine, and I was also in Alaska National Guard. And the one thing that I take from that is you lead from the front, and as long as you show them how to do things and talk to them at the same time, rather than saying, "Hey, we're going to do this," I think it gets them more involved.
It's never hopeless if you're able to talk, to share your burden. Because my father said sometimes in the old days they'd have a pack sack on their back and a pack sack in the front. They could see what the pack sack was, contents in the front, and in the back you didn't. Sometimes you needed help to get something out, and that's where you called on one another. Sometimes you didn't even remember what was in the back. But people that's walking with you, they can look. And that's helping out, he said. That's what the Nachin, that blanket, that Chilkat blanket, you feel how heavy it is? They say that's all the caretakers that have contributed to their community, and the responsibility of a caretaker to put that blanket around people that aren't feeling right, that need help, and that they need some guidance. The beauty of it and the weight of it is what we're charged with, trying to help young people or people that are lost, people that are searching for their soul.
Import.
I lowered the age group if they're old enough.
Thanks so much.
Yes. You want to? Okay. If you can cook for that many people, then you're a real village person.